Welcome to another episode of Talk with a Badge. I'm Vicky O, and I am so happy to be chatting with our Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, aka Team Scout.
Yes,
correct. Right?
Yep.
We practice on this introduction. Today we're going to be talking about drones. Welcome, guys. So as you see on the tables, we have some really cool drones. Now, these aren't the type of drones that you would see in Lady Gaga's halftime performance a couple of years ago or see in the movies. This particular drones are something that the County Sheriff's Department use to create safety in our communities. So we're going to be talking about the difference between the drones you see here on the tables and the difference of the drones that you see in actual stores. I'm so excited to talk about this with you guys because my knowledge on drones is little to nothing. Like, I just know drones used for like photo shoots and used to, capture like the skylines and, Lady Gaga's performance in the halftime Super Bowl. But you guys are doing something extra cool to bring, I guess not awareness, but just making sure our neighborhoods are a little bit safer with technology.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use these crafts in a wide variety of calls for service. We're very mission driven, so we're not just hanging out over neighborhoods looking for somebody to make a mistake. We're not spying on people, nothing like that. But when we have certain calls for service where we don't have a traditional air asset like a helicopter or airplane available, we can get eyes in the sky over the call for service using one of these drones.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's do a step-by-step. Tell us the difference of these drones versus the ones that you would see like in the stores.
This is a DJI Mavic 2 Enterprise Dual. And DJI is a large drone company in the world, and we currently are buying all of our drones through them. But you can actually, anybody can buy this drone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this is nothing on here is law enforcement specific.
Oh, okay.
This is the enterprise version of the particular drone, so it's more used for people within business.
Oh.
So this particular one is called a dual because it has two types of cameras on it.
Okay.
It has a infrared flare camera.
Ooh.
So at nighttime, if it's completely pitch black, I can use it to see heat sources on the ground.
Okay.
And then it has a regular visual light camera. So during the daytime with normal lighting, I can just use that to look for people on the ground. This one right here, same craft, but instead of having the flare, it has a zoomable camera on it. So not so great at night, but during the daytime, it can be high up in the air, and you can actually zoom in on what you're trying to look at, versus this one doesn't have the zoom capability. This one right now is equipped with our spotlight on it. It's about a 3,500 lumen spotlight, which can make a backyard that's completely pitch black at night super bright.
Whoa.
And then this has our loudspeaker on it. So if we ever needed to give commands to somebody, or if we were looking for a missing child, we could pre-record a message such as what the child looks like, how to contact the parents, or how to contact law enforcement. And while flying the drone around, it'll just keep playing that on the loop like you might hear our helicopter do every once in a while. When we have a few other drones that we use as well for different types of missions. But primarily we use these to make it safer for us on the ground and for the community.
That's awesome. So let's talk about some of the ways that you guys use the drones in the communities.
So probably our most frequent use of them is for assisting with like high-risk search warrants.
Okay.
So if our special enforcement detail is serving a high-risk search warrant on somebody who's known to possess weapons, somebody who has a history of violence, or some frequently outdoor marijuana grows.
Okay.
What we can do is use this to keep eyes above to make sure, if someone's in a house and they see us coming up to the front door, if someone skirts out the back, we can keep track of them using the drone. Like Andrew said, we've used them for at-risk missing people. So if somebody goes missing in a park or along the parkway and we don't have an air asset available, we can record a pre-recorded message saying the person's description. If they're spotted, to call the sheriff's office, let us know. We've done them just today. Andrew flew a mission where somebody took off from a patrol officer and they set up a perimeter. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, so one of our patrol officers was trying to make a enforcement stop on a bicyclist who was breaking the law, and they took off on running through an apartment complex. So we set up a perimeter, and part of my job now while I'm in patrol, I keep this in the back of my patrol vehicle. This is my actual drone assigned to me. Is I'll go up and put that air asset up in the air, because typically our helicopter's not flying in the mornings. And we ended up not catching this guy, unfortunately. But part of my role transitioned from searching to protecting when one of our, we got some information that he went into maybe a building. And so our team was going to go into that building to search. So I set up on the outside with the drone overhead. So in case they engaged him or he ran again, I would be able to follow them through and provide that situational awareness to the officers on the ground.
That sounds so intense. So how long has the County Sheriff's Department incorporated drones into the force?
So Vicki, believe it or not, it's been about 10 years in the making.
Really?
Well, longer than that. 2009, I was on the SWAT team, and I think we all share a passion for these tools.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, they were quite frankly toys to us. I started out with remote control planes. I started strapping cheap little cameras on them because I love being up in the air. I love that perspective, that view. And then the quadcopters started becoming more and more commercially available, so I got one of those. And I had it for personal use. In 2009, I was on the SWAT team at the time as an operator, and we had one of our canine dogs get shot. And the handler and the canine were pinned down essentially in a field, and the suspect had ran out into the field still armed. We were called out to handle that situation, and I asked the tactical commander, which is now me, coincidentally, at the time, I said, hey, I live 20 minutes from here. Can I go home, grab my drone and come back, and then we can get an aerial perspective of where this guy was at so we don't have to go up on foot or using our armored vehicles. And at the time, I mean, you can imagine 2009, we're still pretty heavy in the war.
Sure.
And when people heard drones, they were thinking the big Predator drones that were armed, carrying missiles that we're using overseas. So the perception wasn't there yet. Fast forward to about 3 years ago, I was very persistent and probably a pain to some of our executives. And they finally said, okay, Dan, you can go out and explore the potential of bringing an unmanned aerial system program to our organization. So our sheriff, Scott Jones, being as transparent as he is, said another component of me allowing you to start this program is you need to go out to the community and educate people. So for 3 years, I would attend community events. I would set up meetings with important business leaders, faith-based leaders, everyone I could think of in our communities. And I would go out there and talk to them about, what our missions were going to be with these things, but more importantly, what we were not going to be doing, which is essentially spying on people, violating people's civil rights, patrolling because they're just not set up for that type of flight time. So over the course of 3 years, once I was out there and sharing our message with the community, I can tell you I had 0 complaints. The only complaint was, why aren't you flying these things right now instead of the helicopters over my house, right? And I said, well, we'll get there eventually. We're not going to replace a helicopter, but it's going to be a force multiplier. And then people would ask, well, is there any way you can strap spotlights and speakers on the drones so that you can accomplish the same mission? And at that time, we weren't there yet. Well, now look, we got speakers and spotlights.
I was going to say, you guys can host a concert with these things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a long process. We had some pioneers that went before us that, I hate to say it, made some of the mistakes that we didn't have to recreate.
Sure.
But then I got on a committee with our California Peace Officer Standards and Training, where I had the opportunity to sit around a table with a multitude of different agencies, some that had successful programs and some that had failed, and gain all of their insight and knowledge to bring it to where it is now. I always told myself, as soon as we get one of these up over a mission, real world scenario, I'm going to do a mic drop and retire. Well, that happened way too early, and I've got way too much time left to do.
So you guys are just getting started.
But now, to the credit of these gentlemen, I get to kind of sit back and they do all the hard work, and they're passionate about it, and they're bringing it to a whole different level that I could have never imagined because of their hard work and dedication. So I'm very proud of these guys. I'll say it on camera. Proud of you guys.
Say it one more time. What?
Very proud of you guys.
Thank you.
So.
Well, that's so exciting. So how about we go outside and let's fly one of these?
Let's do it.
Yay! This is my favorite part of the video, of the episode, because they're gonna teach me how to fly one of these bad boys.
All right, you ready?
I'm so ready.
This is a setup that we always have anytime we go out and we're going to fly a mission to ensure that we have a safe landing zone and that nobody's going to come and run over our drone or our landing pad, okay?
Okay.
So now we're going to take off, so slowly push up on this. Keep coming. Go above our heads. All right, you can stop right there. Go up in the sky, so push up on the left stick until I tell you to stop.
Whoa!
Okay, you can stop there.
Oh my
now,
gosh.
Now push it out. With the right stick, push forward.
Look at me go!
We have the ability to record. This button down here pulls up a map so we can see where we are in the area. It'll also show us incoming aircraft that might be around to make sure that we avoid them.
This is so cool. Best day of the week is today because this is so awesome. I thought it was going to be a lot harder to fly one of these.
These things are, they're pretty smart. They're very intelligent. That's why they're a little pricey. But that using GPS and an internal compass and a barometer will hold its position. So you can just be not pushing anywhere on the stick and it's just going to sit there and hover until we tell it to move.
I could do this all day.
So fly back towards us. Okay, so look at the drone and start. There you go. Now fly it towards us slowly. Okay, now we're going to turn it away from us. Okay, now look at the screen here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, we see that landing pad?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I want you to just push down slowly on that stick. Okay, keep coming down, keep coming down. Yeah. All right, hold down on the stick. Just hold all the way down. Keep holding it, keep holding it, keep holding it. There you go. All right, perfect landing.
Yay!